right. If you have props, make sure to grab them. I have a block and a bolster. I like to sit up on a bolster to get a little height as we start the practice, and the block will give you some stability as we move through the flow. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Bree, and this is All Levels Vinyasa Yoga class. Find your way to your seat. And when you arrive in your seat, bring your hands to your lap. Refresh your posture, create a nice long spine. Either close your eyes or allow your vision to come down to the earth and blur. And start to bring in a deeper, fuller breath into the lungs. And as you breathe, allow the breath to move down deep into the pit of the belly. Bring your awareness to your heart space. And just notice what you're showing up with today in your body, in your physical body, and in your mental mind, in the busyness of the day. And as you deepen and lengthen your breath, bring your awareness to your pelvis. Heavy your pelvis down into the earth as you lift long through your spine. Pull your shoulders onto the back plane of the body. Open your mouth and let any stagnant breath that's in the lungs go. HA. Inhale fully through your nose. Exhale completely through your mouth. Full expansive inhale. And open your mouth, exhale, cleanse it out, HA. Heavy your pelvis down into the earth. Inhale, circle, sweep. Reach your arms high to the sky. Bring your hands to a prayer. Bring the prayer all the way down to heart center. We'll start by opening up with the sound of Om. Om is the sound of really like the sound of connection and the sound that helps us connect to each other and to the whole living, breathing universe. Inhale for Om. Bow your head towards your fingertips. Lift your skull up and come to all fours. Find yourself in a tabletop position. As you arrive in your tabletop, start to move through spinal movements. It can be cat, cow, barrel rolls of the hips, whatever feels good for your spine and your body today. When you place your hands on the mat, the hands should stack directly below the shoulders and spread nice and wide through your fingers and evenly pull back through your fingertips. Root down through the perimeter of the palms. Land in a neutral spinal position after getting a few wiggles out. Inhale, lift your sit bones up, melt your heart to a cow spine, lift your skull. Exhale, press your hands and your knees into the mat, round to a cat spine. Inhale, follow the breath, lift your tailbone, melt your heart, cow spine. Exhale, press the hands and the knees into the mat, round, cat spine. Come to that more neutral position. Lower your forearms down to the mat. So you're now on a forearm tabletop. Round through your spine. Find deep extension in this back body. Inhale, lift your tailbone up. Shrug the shoulders a little bit more towards your ears. Melt your heart. Press your shoulder blades onto the back of the ribs. Inhale, round through the spine. Find a deep, full cat spine. And exhale, lift your tailbone and melt your heart, cow spine. Come to a more neutral position here. Walk your knees back until your hips come down into the mat, Sphinx pose. Press the tops of the legs down. Engage to the belly. Drop your right ear over towards your right shoulder and bring your chin down towards the collarbone. Bring your left ear over towards the left shoulder and lift your skull up And move through these half circles a few times. Land with your chest through center in a Sphinx pose. Bring your left arm in just a touch to stabilize you. Bring your right heel towards your sit bone. Reach around with your hand to grab your foot. Actively kick your foot into your hand as you pull your heel towards the outer hip, making a stronger connection through the strength of the muscle. Press the left toes down into the mat. Engage through the low belly. Breathe in and out through your nose. And slowly release, nice and controlled, back to center. Bring your right arm in. Bring your left heel towards your sit bone. Reach around with your hand to grab your foot. Find that big push-pull. Engage through the navel. Start to wake up your Ujjayi breath. When you breathe in and out through the nose, keep a little tone to the back of the throat, the epiglottis. And when you breathe in that way, your breath will become to sound a little bit more audible, like a whisper or an oceanic sound. Slowly release, come back to your forearm Sphinx pose. From here, press your elbows and your knees into the mat, round through your tailbone, and lift up through the upper back. So coming into more of a cat spine. Feel that core really engage. Exhale, lower your hips, pull the heart through. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, lower and pull the heart through. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. 3 more like that, moving with your breath. The inhale is bringing you up into this flexion in your spine. And exhale lowers your hips down, brings you to extension. Next time you make it up, stay upright for an extra breath. Tug your left elbow towards the right knee and your right elbow towards the left knee. Keep pressing your forearms into the mat, really strong and stable. And release your hips down. Soften your chest down to the mat. Bring your arms to a cactus shape. Hike your right knee up towards your right hip and heavy that right hip down. Bring your right hand fingertips in towards your face. Pull your right shoulder into the socket. Pivot to the outside edge of your left hip. Ground your right foot behind you. And maybe you crawl those right fingertips in a little bit. Plug your right shoulder into the socket. Breathe breath into your chest. And if this foot being behind you feels like too much in the hips, you can always just straighten your right leg out and take the hip opener out of it. Slowly come back towards center. Line up your right elbow with your right shoulder. Hike your left knee up towards the left hip and walk your left hand in a little closer towards the face, starting off by pulling your left shoulder a little deeper into the socket as you heavy that left hip down. Begin to pivot to the outside edge of your right hip and land your foot behind you. Pull your left shoulder in. Breathe. Slowly come back towards center. Bring your hands back to the cactus shape. Tuck your toes. Roll your inner thighs towards one another. Keep your knees down and keep a little gap in between your heels. Pull your belly up and away from the earth. Bring your feet to just a hover. Squeeze your inner thighs like a really strong inner anchor. Inhale, lift your cactus arms up. Lift your head up. Keep those knees down. Take one more breath to get a little bit more extension. And exhale, lower down. 2 more like that. Inhale, lift up. Anchored back extension. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, rise up. Send your elbow tips more towards the earth. Bring your hands higher back into space. And exhale, lower down. Untuck your toes, press the toenails down into the mat. Engage through your legs, the fronts of the thighs. Your kneecaps will actually lift up a little bit. Bring your hands by your chest. Lift your shoulders up and rise up to a cobra. So you could keep it low or you can bring it high. Find what feels good in your body. Pull your shoulders back and tug the hands back towards the hips. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, rise up. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. In your cobra, find a little lateral glide. Slide side to side and back and forth. And slowly lower your way all the way down to the mat. Press your way up through a tabletop. Bring your toes together, your knees wide. Shift your hips back, child's pose. In your child's pose, crawl your hands way up towards the front of the mat. Come on to tentative fingertips. Lift your shoulders up. From the back of the heart, press down and out through your arms, through the hands, into the earth. From here, ground your hands. Bring your hands to a prayer. Lower your elbows and bring the prayer behind your skull. Inch your elbows forward a little bit. And breathe. Extend your arms out forward. Start to sit up on your heels. Pull your knees towards the midline. Bring your hands behind you. Inhale, lift your heart up. Imagine there's like a string connected to your breastbone, and that string is lifting your heart up more. Press the tops of the feet down into the mat. Lift through your hips. Inhale. Exhale, lower your hips down. Inhale, reach your arms high. Interlace your hands. Face your interlaced hands high towards the ceiling. Breath in, lean back. Exhale, pull navel to spine, round. Inhale, lift up, lengthen. Exhale, pulse navel towards spine, round. Again, inhale, lift up and lengthen. Lift through your hips so the hips are off of the heels. Round through the spine all the way until you land in a cat position. Press the tops of the feet down and lift your knees up to just a little hover on the mat. Hug your forearms in towards the midline. Hug your shins in towards the midline. Breathe. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips up to a downward facing dog. Start to pedal it out. It might be the first down dog of the day for you. So get the wiggles out. Shift your heels back and forth. Take a glance up at your hands and just check in. See that your hands are still nice and aligned. Your wrist creases are lining up with the front edge of the mat. And pull back through your fingertips. Find stillness in your dog pose. Keep a micro bend in your knees and send your hips higher towards the sky. Send your thigh bones back into space. From the back of the heart, press down and out through your arms. Inhale, come high onto your tiptoes like a wave. Wave your spine forward to a plank position. Exhale, press it back, downward facing dog. 2 more like that. Inhale, big wave all the way forward towards your plank. Exhale, press it back, dog pose. Inhale, forward, palakasana. Hold your plank. Shift your shoulders past your wrists. Lower your knees down. Find a half push-up. Inhale, lower your hips. Pull the heart through, cobra pose. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips up to a downward facing dog. Walk your hands up towards your feet. Walk your feet up towards your hands. Sorry. And make your feet as wide as your mat distance apart. And now, curl your fingertips more forward. If you have a block, come up high onto that block and send your hips back behind your heels, way back into space. So it's kind of different than a normal forward fold where we're compressing and folding into ourselves. Rather, it's like a hinge where the hips go back and the crown goes forward. You're still folding at a sense, but not completely. Hug your lower shins in towards the midline and send your upper inner thighs way back, wide and apart. Breathe. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine, lift your heart up. Exhale, fold. Press into the earth. Inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Step your feet back to hip distance apart. Bring your arms by your sides, Tadasana, mountain pose. From the pelvis, press down into the legs. Inhale, reach your arms high. Exhale, release your arms by your sides. 2 more like that. Just follow the breath. Inhale brings it up. And the exhale takes you down. Inhale, reach up, find your length. Next time you're up top, grab your right wrist, side bend up and over towards the left. Engage through your legs as you pull on your wrist. From the pelvis, press down into your right leg. Inhale, come back through center. Switch your clasp and take the side bend the other way. Inhale through center. Exhale, cactus your arms and lift through your heart. Inhale, pull, navel to spine, reach your arms high. Exhale, tone your belly, hinge your hips, come all the way down to a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, fold, step your left leg back, lower your knee down. Press your legs into the earth, and as you rise up to a low lunge, sink your hips down and forward. Squeeze your inner thighs towards one another and breathe a full breath into the back body. Grab your left wrist, inhale. Exhale, side bend over towards your right, bow forward into space. Inhale and come back through center. Exhale, bring your hands down, shift your hips back to a half split. Your foot can be on the earth and pull back, or your toes can be straight up towards the sky. Send your groins back, deepen through the groins. Send your sit bone farther back. Inhale, get a little lift through your spine. And exhale, optional fold. 2 more like that. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, bend into your front knee. Plant your hands, step back to a plank position. Option to lower your knees. Half push up. Inhale, pull the heart through, cobra pose. Exhale, fold down. Bring your hands by your sides. Come onto tentative fingertips. Press the tops of the feet down. Inhale, start to lift up through your head, your chest, your arms, and your legs. Squeeze your shins in towards the midline. Lift up through the heart a little more. Take a breath in. And exhale, lower down to the mat. Interlace your hands behind your back. Again, inhale, lift through your head, your legs, your chest. Squeeze your shins in towards the midline. Inhale. Exhale, release, lower. Bring your hands by your chest. Press your way up through a tabletop. Send your hips back, child's pose. Thread the needle. Weave your left arm through the right. Find a little shoulder stretch. Press the right palm into the mat as you tug your left arm back. Unwind, come back through center, weave your right arm through the left, find the shoulder stretch the other way. Come all the way back through center, rise up through the tabletop, tuck your toes and lift your hips up to a downward facing dog. From your down dog, inhale, come high forward towards a plank. This time, bend your knees, send your hips high so you're creating a spinal wave back to a down dog. Inhale, forward to a plank, rounding through the spine. Bend the knees to a hover, send your hips high, down dog. Last time, inhale all the way forward towards your plank. Bend your knees, send those sit bones up, down dog. Walk your way all the way up to the front of the mat. Find a forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need. Interlace your hands behind your back. Lift your shoulders up and drop your hands over the back body. Squeeze the lower half of your shins in and send your sit bones higher towards the sky. Release your hands. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen through your spine. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet. Inhale, circle sweep. Reach your arms high. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sink your hips low, chair pose. Get lift through your heart. Bring more weight into your heels, but don't fall back like I did. Inhale. Exhale, tiptoe chair. Bring your arms behind you. Squeeze your shins towards the midline. Inhale, lower your heels, reach your arms high. Exhale, tiptoe chair. Inhale, reach up, lengthen. Exhale, tiptoe chair. Inhale, lower your heels, reach high. Exhale, hinge at your hips, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right leg back, lower the knee down. Squeeze the base of your legs together, your front foot and your back knee as you rise up to a low lunge. Settle into the posture, sink your hips down. Keep squeezing your inner thighs towards the midline. Take a breath in, breathe full into your back body. Exhale, grab your right wrist, side bend over towards the left. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, bring your hands down. Shift your hips back to a half split. Point your toes up. Spread through your toes or ground your foot on the mat and pull back. So it's really about finding a point of contact on the earth and pulling back. So whether you're pushing the ball of the foot down and pulling back or the heel into the ground and pulling back, that will help tone the back of the leg. Inhale, halfway lift through your spine, get length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, folds. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend into your front knee, plant your hands and step back to your plank pose. Half push-up, elbows pull in by the rib cage, lift through your hips and your shoulders. Lower the hips, pull the heart through to a cobra pose. Stay here or up dog, pull your hands back a little bit until your hips lift, your thighs lift. Only the hands and the feet are on the mat. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up to a downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, reach your right leg high to the sky. Exhale, pull your knee towards your nose, round. Lift the sides of the waist. Stack your shoulders in line with your wrist. Plant your foot in between your hands. Straighten out through your right leg. Pull your right hip back as your left hip wraps forward. Inhale, bend into your front knee. Squeeze your legs towards one another. Press down into the earth as you rise up. Crescent lunge. Stack your knee in line with your ankle. If it feels hard to balance, widen through your feet a little bit so you have hip distance between your left and right foot. Press the back thigh back into space. Inhale. Exhale, cactus your arms and lift through your heart. Inhale, pull navel in towards spine. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, pull your arms in. Exhale, twist. Bring your right arm back and your left arm forward. As you come to this twist, maybe you bend into your front knee a little more. Pull your shoulders back. Shift your gaze towards your right hand. Start to tilt your trunk forward. Ground your left hand on the inside edge of your front foot. Pivot your back heel down onto the earth. Heel toe your front foot halfway down the mat. Inhale, get lift through your hips. Reach your arm way in line with your ear. Exhale, lower your hips down any amount. Bring your arm by your side. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, lift. Find that lift. And bring your feet to a plank pose. Your front foot steps back. Your feet are either staggered, stacked, or you could lift a leg. From here, ground your hand on the mat. Plank pose. Half push-up. Inhale, pull the heart through, up dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your left leg high. Exhale, pull your left knee through, plant your foot in between your hands. Straighten out through your left leg. Pull your left hip back as that right hip wraps forward a little. Breathe. Bend into your front knee. Squeeze your legs towards one another. From the pelvis, press down into the earth as you rise up. Crescent lunge. Find your foundation. Squeeze your legs towards one another. Press your big toe mound down into the earth. Inhale. Exhale, cactus your arms. Press the shoulder blades onto the back of the ribs. Inhale, pull navel to spine. Reach your arms high. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, twist. Bring your left arm back and the right arm forward. Pull both shoulders back into space. Start to tilt your trunk forward. Ground your right hand underneath the right shoulder. Reach your left arm high. Pivot to the outside edge of your back foot. Bring your front foot halfway down the mat. Inhale, get as much lift as you can in your hips. Reach your left arm in line with your ear. Get lots of length through that side body. Exhale, lower your hips down. Bring your left arm by your side. Inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Stay lifted and stack your feet, stagger your feet, or lift a leg. Find your version of plank pose, Vashisthasana. Breath in. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, shift your shoulders past your wrists. Exhale, half push-up. Inhale, pull the heart through cobra or up dog. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up to a downward facing dog. From your down dog, lower your knees down on the mat. Bring your right shin off a little bit and reach your left leg up to a side plank variation. Reach your left arm in line with your ear. Pull your left heel towards your sit bone. Reach around to grab whichever side of your foot and find a little bow shape in this back bend. Actively kick your foot into your hand. Bring the sides of the ears back into space. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, slowly release your foot. Bring your hand down to the mat. Ground your left knee. Take it to the other side, really simple. Bring your left shin off a little bit. Stack your right leg or your right hip over your left. Bend your knee, reach your hand around to grab for your foot and kick your foot into your hand as you lean back. Pull the bottom shoulder back and from the left collarbone, press down and out through the left arm, through the hand into the earth. Slowly release your foot, straighten out through your leg. Ground your hand and your knee at the same time. Heart melting pose. Keep engagement through your belly. Walk your hands forward. Lift your shoulders up. Wrap your triceps down. So lifting your shoulders up is kind of like a shrug, but then once you wrap your triceps down towards the mat, the shoulders will move away from you a little bit. From this place, melt your heart towards the mat. Keep engaged to the belly as you melt and melt and melt. Maybe your forehead touches the ground. Breathe. And slowly slide your hips back onto your heels, coming to a child's pose. Begin to ripple your way forward to a tabletop. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right leg high. Bend your knee, open your hip. Squeeze your heel more towards your sit bone. Create a circle with your knee in one direction. Take the circle with your knee in the other direction. Inhale, straighten through your leg. Square your hip, wrap your hip way down. Exhale, pull your knee towards the nose round. Inhale, reach it up and long. Exhale, knee towards left tricep. Fallen triangle, shoot your leg out. Reach your left arm up. Ground your left hand. Inhale, reach your right leg high. Bend your knee, open your hips. Stay here or come to the outside edge of your left foot and find wild thing. Tap your right foot down. Lift through your hips and your heart. Unwind. Come back through center. Reach your right arm high. Exhale, pull the knee towards the nose. Plant your foot in between your hands. Pivot your back heel down onto the earth. Press down into the earth as you rise up. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. As you arrive in the warrior, line up your front heel with the middle of the back arch. Turn your back toes in just a touch. Spread through your back toes and your front toes. Squeeze your legs towards one another. Find some strength building in the inner thighs. From the pelvis, stretch down and out through the legs, long through the spine and out through your arms, finding length in your posture. Inhale, flip your palm, reach forward, and reverse. Bring your hand down the back thigh. Reach your arm high to the sky. Exhale, come to a side angle. Bring the elbow towards your thigh. Reach your arm up, bend your elbow, and bring your hand to the opposite shoulder blade. And when you touch that opposite shoulder blade, you might notice you can feel your shoulder blade pull your bottom shoulder, your right shoulder, back into space a little bit. From your right hip, engage to the right glute and send your right knee a little wider towards the pinky toe. From the left hip, stretch down and out through the left leg, out through the left arm. From the pelvis, press into the earth. Inhale and reverse your warrior. Exhale, come towards warrior 2. Inhale, pivot your back toes forward, and it can be more helpful if you step out to a crescent lunge. Now you're square with the front of the mat. Inhale, and as you exhale, start to tilt your trunk forward. Stand down into your right foot. Pull your left knee in towards your chest. Find a moment of balance here. Once you feel stable, cross your ankle over your knee. Sink your hips back into space. Arms can be lifted up if you want to keep working your shoulders. You can bring your hands to a prayer. We'll just be here for a moment. Inhale, pull your left knee back in. Find some balance. Move through warrior 3. Send your leg back into space. Maybe your arms come back to help you balance. Bend into your front knee. Bring your hands down. Straighten out through your right leg. Heel toe your right foot a little bit wider so you're taking up space between your front foot and your back foot, and turn your right toes off on a diagonal. Bend into your front knee. Lower your back knee down to the earth. Use your right hand, widen your right thigh bone away from you, lizard lunge. So you have options here. You can stay here. You can lower your forearms down to the mat or onto a block. And if you want more stretch in the back thigh, walk your back knee back into space. Isometrically tug your front heel back and your back knee forward. Deep breaths. Begin to place your hands underneath your shoulders. Plant your hands on the mat. Lift off your back knee and reach your leg up. From here, pull your right knee towards your right wrist, pigeon pose. In your pigeon, stay upright for a moment. Squeeze your knees towards one another. Have a lift through your heart. And then pull your back heel towards your sit bone and release. And pull your heel towards your sit bone and release. Pull the heel towards the sit bone and release. Come all the way down. Fold your down in front of the front thigh. Stay strong and engaged through your back leg. Press the left toes down into the mat or tuck your toes. Squeeze your back shin in towards the midline. Reconnect your hands underneath your shoulders. And as you inhale, start to rise up. Give your leg whatever little kicks and movements it might need. And lower your foot all the way down, downward facing dog. Either flow through a little vinyasa on your own or just stay in down dog. Inhale, reach your left leg high. Exhale, bend your knee, open your hip. Create a big circle with your knee in one direction. Take that circle with your knee in the other direction. Inhale, straighten out through your leg. Square your hip, wrap your left hip down. Exhale, pulse, knee towards nose, round. Inhale, stretch it out and long. Exhale, knee towards right tricep. Shoot your leg out. Reach your right arm up as you pivot your back heel down onto the earth. Ground your right hand. Inhale, reach your left leg up. Exhale, start to pivot to the outside edge of your back foot. Plant your left foot down. Kamatkarasana, wild thing. Lift through your hips. Pull your shoulders back. Unwind, ground your left hand. Inhale, reach your left leg high. Exhale, pull your knee towards your nose. Plant your foot in between your hands. Pivot your back heel down onto the earth. Inhale, cartwheel your arms up. Warrior two. As you arrive in that warrior two, check in with your foundation. Magnetize your legs towards one another. Breathe. Inhale, flip your palm, reach forward, and reverse your warrior. Bring your right arm high, left arm high to the sky. Exhale, side angle, elbow to the thigh, or reach your hand down towards the inner edge of the ankle. Bend your elbow, reach your hand around for the opposite shoulder blade. Kick your head into the forearm. Press your back thigh energetically back into space. So like deepening through that back groin, your right groin, and then widen your left knee more towards the pinky toe. So it's a balance. As your back thigh goes back, your front knee is going to want to go in. So you want to counter that. And from the pelvis, stretch down and out through the legs. Reach long through the spine. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, bring yourself to square on the mat. Sometimes it's helpful if you step your back foot out, crescent lunge. Tilt your heart forward. Spread through your left toes. Pull the right knee in towards the chest. Find some balance. Cross your ankle over your knees. Sink your hips low. Figure four. Take these moments where you're balancing and you're in stillness to reconnect, recommit to that ujjayi breath, the rhythm of your breath. Find a drishti, something that's not moving to focus on, to hold your balance. Inhale, pull your right knee in towards the chest. Find that balance again. Straighten out through your leg. Inhale. Exhale, warrior three. Bend into your front knee. Step back. Bring your hands down. Straighten out through your left knee. Heel toe. Your left foot over towards the left. Point your toes off on a diagonal. Lower your back knee down. Bring your forearms down to the mat or to a block. Back your back knee up into space. Reconnect your hands underneath your elbows. Reach your back leg up. Give it a little circle with the hip or the knee in one direction and then the other. Inhale, straighten your leg. Exhale, pull your left knee towards the left wrist. Land in a pigeon pose. Squeeze your legs towards one another. Get lift through your heart space. Inhale. Exhale, pull your heel towards your sit bone. And release. And pulse, contract through the back of the hamstring. And release. And pulse. And release. Soften your chest down to the mat. Stay engaged by squeezing your knees towards one another. Press the knife edge of your front foot into the mat until that outer heel kind of starts to lift a little bit. The action of pressing the foot into the ground can help protect your knee joint here in pigeon. From the pelvis, stretch out long through the right leg and long through the spine, out through your crown. Reconnect your hands underneath your elbows as you rise up. Tuck your toes, lift your leg up. Create some micro movements through your leg and lower your foot down to the mat. Start to walk your feet all the way up towards the front of the mat, landing in a forward fold. Grab your block if you have it, or a water bottle, something to stabilize on, and bring your block to the right side of the mat. Spread through your right toes. Bring your left hand towards your hip. Reach your left leg up and stack your hips for half moon pose. In half moon, flex your toes towards your ankle. If your block isn't wider than your front foot, then it'll be a little harder to balance. And so from this place, an invitation is sugarcane pose. Bend your knee, reach your hand around to grab for your foot. Actively kick your foot into your hand. Pump your heart forward. Line your ears up. Kind of send your ears back into space and line your neck up with the rest of your spine. And then slowly release without slingshotting for your foot. Bring your left hand to your hip and unwind. Square the hip. Wrap your hip down and ground your foot. Second side, move your hand and your block towards the left. Spread through your left toes. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Reach your right leg up and stack your hips. From the pelvis, stretch out through your legs. Maybe you reach the right arm high, and you could stay here in Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. It's a fine place to be. If you want to go further, reach your hand around to grab for your foot for that quad stretch and kick your foot into your hand, finding this Dhanurasana bow shape. Back bend. Give yourself as much of a bend as you need in your knee to help you stabilize. Slowly release your foot. Unwind just the way you came in, hand to the hip. Square through your hips, wrap your toes down, ground your foot, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. And exhale, fold. Press into the earth, inhale, circle sweep, reach high. Exhale, join your hands at a prayer. Start to sit down through chair pose all the way until your hips land on your heels. Maybe stretch your arms forward to help you counterbalance. Ground your hips and pull your knees in towards your chest. Bring your knees way wide into the armpits. Grab for the outside edges of your feet. Pull your feet down towards the earth. As you press your feet up into your hands, happy baby pose. And bring your knees back in. Let's find a plow pose. Send your hips up and your legs over your back body, round through the spine. Maybe you interlace your hands behind your back. Maybe your hands just rest on the low back. Untuck your chin from your chest. And slowly, vertebra by vertebra, roll your way all the way back onto the earth. Stretch your legs out long for a Shavasana shape. Let go of any breath that you're holding in your lungs, HA. Inhale fully through your nose. Exhale completely through your mouth. Let it go. Let go of any constriction in your breath. And take as much time as you would like to rest in this Shavasana shape today.